right. What's happening, Turtle Riders? Looks like we're slowly starting to come in here. We got 6 right now. That's fantastic. I understand it's a new format. So it's not like Facebook. We're just going to pop up in your feed. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to head on over towards the page. And I'm going to go ahead and share this. Say we live. And see if we can get a little crowd over here. We live. We live. All right. So, here we go. Now we're all starting to come in. Excellent. Here come my turtles. All right. So, welcome to the Uncle Turtle Boy Book Club. Nice little series we got going on here. Just a reminder that I'm sitting in the garage right now, and none of this would be possible without our good friends over at Garage Doors Plus in Quincy. You can find them online at gdplus.com. They've been doing work all around the New England area, not just the South Coast. They'll pretty much go anywhere. Connecticut, Central Mass, Western Mass, North Shore, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, anywhere except for Vermont, because Vermont's terrible. They'll come over and one day give you a fair price with a great estimate that's going to blow your doors off, no pun intended, and they will come over there and get it done in one day. You'll have a nice little clicker. Every day you come home, your life will be a million times easier. Trust me, I have one. I do it every day. All right, so welcome, peeps. Looks like we got some people here rolling in. Heidi's here from Tucson Turtle. My Tucson Turtles here. Time for Turtle Boy Bedtime Stories. Oh, Laura's even here. Wow. Time is it over in Great Britain there? Ben Yonks, since I made it to a book club. Yeah, it has been an ill minute. It's kind of an inconvenient time for you, Laura, I would assume, but thanks for coming on anyway. Because today's a good chapter, actually. Today's a good chapter. Today is Ratchets and Stuff Turtle Boy Gets Blamed For. Now, I got to be honest. I loved the way the show went yesterday. I loved it. All right. I was so much happier with. I kind of like the feed more. I feel like more people say things on here more. I think it's a little faster. I don't like how obviously YouTube is not a social network, so it's not like you guys are like sitting on YouTube and all of a sudden it's like, you know, you get a notification that the Turtle Boy Live show is on. Whereas Facebook, we kind of like all go instinctively to and just check our feed, and whatever Zuckerberg tells us to read, we read it, you know, because he controls everything. But yeah, Melissa missed it, but you're here tonight, so we're getting this together. So obviously, I mean, it's got its pros and its cons, but it's more smoother. I like that. And honestly, anything, if it's got to start somewhere, right? Like, we have to start making this movement away from Facebook. I'm hesitant to do it to another tech company like YouTube, I've heard nothing but bad things about as well, because they're owned by Google, and Google sucks. But the worst they're going to do is demonetize you, and I'll take that any day of the week over just like completely deplatforming, which Twitter and Facebook have done to us. So anyway, yeah, exactly. They won't ban you, just demonetize you. But since it's not how you make money, it's F it. Exactly, Tim. You read my mind, man. You read my mind. All right, yeah. So definitely, like, I mean, we'll use Facebook because we have to like, you know, get it out there. But the question is, what should we do for the live show this weekend? Should we do it? Because Clarence Woods Emerson comes back Friday morning. And I'm always excited when Clarence Woods Emerson comes back because Clarence has a big following. So, should we go live on Clarence on Saturday night? Or should we say, fuck it, and do it on here on Saturday night? Let me hear a little what Turtle Riders say. I mean, I'm up in the air. The revolutionary in me wants to say, fuck it, let's do it here. But, like, the safe turtle in me wants to go back to Clarence. Yeah, go on Facebook where we can comment on each other's posts on here. Okay. Yeah, see how it goes tonight. I agree. Let's see how it goes tonight. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Laura. Why am I crawling back? Exactly. Let's fuck it. Let's do it here. All right. So, let's talk about chapter 14. Have we all read the book here? If not, I don't want to give away too many spoilers. But it's chapter 14 is a good one because it's another form of censorship. Blaming us for shit we didn't do. Okay? We've already talked about lawsuits yesterday, and we talked about boycotts. And by the way, I don't want to go off topic here, but boycotts are back in the news. Have you guys seen what's going on with Tucker Carlson over at Fox News? This shit pisses me off. All right? Tucker Carlson said something about immigrants coming to the United States. And he was making a rant, which was a right-wing rant, and you would agree with it if you were conservative. But then he said one word that it's the only word that matters, right? He said that immigrants are making the country dirtier, he said. And that was like the word that resonated. Now, what a lot of people took from that is like, well, you're saying that these people are dirty, right? He's like, no, what he meant was they're actually littering, right? Like fucking Tijuana is a dump right now. And so I saw the drag queen wants to start a boycott against you now. Yeah, good luck with that. Anyway, so they're like all these people. You go on Twitter and you're like looking at all these people, and they're like trying to boycott, and they're like taking heads. Like they're like taking heads. Like every time they get an advertiser, like IHOP or one of these places to leave, they like brag about it. It's like, do you feel like you accomplished something today? You know what I mean? Like this is a victory for you. Like what you. Like that slot isn't going to be filled by someone else, but all this is, right? And what they're saying is like, well, we'll stop fucking boycotting these advertisers. And what they mean by boycott, of course, is we will call and harass them over and over again, and we will tell them you must leave Fox News or else, right? Or else what? You're not going to buy our pancakes? Bitch, of course you're going to eat our pancakes. We take food stamps at IHOP, all right? Anyway. I loved when you put all those Ratchet's Ex students. Yes, thank you. Let's talk about that for a moment. Let's talk about before we get into this chapter. And I guess this kind of leads into it, right? And by the way, so my point with Tucker Carlson is that like we're seeing it again. It's like if you don't like Tucker Carlson, don't fucking watch Fox News. Stop trying to interfere with private businesses. And all they're really trying to do is get him kicked off the air or get him to censor his speech. No one should ever censor their speech ever. If companies don't want to do it on their own, don't harass them, okay? That's the free market. Don't fucking harass them. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about the one with the former students. I'm glad you guys like that because that was one of those blogs that was like, and it is very much like the WEI situation. The blog that I personally wrote the other day, because mine are all Uncle Turtle Boy, all right? That one was one that I took pride in. And I'm doing that a lot lately. I'm very fucking liberated ever since this book. Right? Because now I get to like just be like, yeah, motherfucker, it's me. What? What you gonna do, son? What up with that? All right. So you got this one of those there was this drag queen event at the Worcester Public Library. Two drag queens read to a bunch of children, right? And they were dressed like Maine South hookers. There's no other way to put it, right? There's just no other way to put it. They're just like hookers. If you're going to be a guy who dresses like a woman, right? That's fine. More power to you. This is America, right? Freedom. But you don't have to dress like a whore and expect to read to little children at the library. That's not how women dress. You're not appropriating women. You're appropriating hookers. And hookers do not read to children in the library. That's not how any of this works. Seriously. And it turns out, lo and behold, I had no idea. And it caused a lot of controversy, whatever. I don't even want to get into it. All I'm saying is it's inappropriate. And of course, Worcester Magazine writes an article defending it and shitting on the people, bad-talking it, as Nicholas points out, because that was written by Bill Shaner. All right? Bill Shaner is not a real reporter. Bill Shaner is an activist. He is 26 years old, I think, something like that. Long hair. He looks like a bad, washed-up grunge dude from the 90s. He's poor as shit. I think Bill Shaner will never advance past Worcester Magazine. He has hit his ceiling because he is not talented. Like, I read his article about it the other day, and he writes this article, and he's like, you know, that Worcester comes together to go against the haters. The haters? So anybody who has a problem with this is a hater now? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're not even allowed to think maybe this isn't the greatest thing in the world. Maybe it's not. You're a hater. You can't even say that. Or the local newspaper is going to call you a hater and attack you. Like, come on. And he didn't interview a single person that had a problem with it. He interviewed like 4 or 5 people, and the only people he interviewed are the people who were like, this is so wonderful. And you know what? The people who are saying this is so wonderful, they're doing that because they want to be on record as saying this is so wonderful. They want to have their picture taken there. All those smiling parents you saw at the thing, they weren't there for their kids. They were there for them. They were there to be seen so they can let all their friends on the west side know, ooh, look at me, I'm so tolerant. I've lived in Worcester. I don't live in Worcester anymore, but I grew up in Worcester my whole life. There's different parts of Worcester. Where the library is ghetto. I mean, that's downtown. And Worcester's a diverse city. I didn't see a single person of color in any of those pictures, meaning every single one of those motherfuckers either came from out of town or from the west side. And that's what, like, white, it was like the picture of everything that is wrong with white liberalism today. It was just like, look at me. I'm so fucking tolerant. Give me a fucking cookie. Ooh, look at me. I accept everything. You're a drag queen. You're dressing like a hooker in front of my children. Not only do I accept that, I think that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. It's so fucking awesome. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. So, anyway, yeah, come on, Laura. I didn't think they looked like hookers. Give me a break. The guy who was dressed like my former student. Let's look this up, shall we? Because I don't know what hookers look like in England, Laura, but in America, this is what they all look like. I don't know. The schoolgirls, you would get kicked out of St. Peter Marian's or Holy Name if you tried dressing like this. They don't wear makeup like that, at the Catholic schools in Massachusetts. And believe me, Catholic schoolgirls growing up in Worcester were like the easiest chicks in the world. Everybody knew that. All right. Holy shame, we used to call them. Let me see if we can find what they look like. There they are. I was going to save this for live, but we'll give you guys a little sneak preview. So, yeah, look at these dresses, right? I want you to tell me, seriously, I love Laura, but I want you to tell me how this is like not looking like a hooker. Like, explain that to me. This is not what, like, look at the makeup and the eyeshadow and shit like that. Women do not dress like this when they go to formal places. You're a woman, Laura. Do you dress like this when you go out to like something formal? If you were invited to speak to children, would you like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fucking put on my Catholic schoolgirl skirt and my hooker boots, my pink hooker boots. And I am going to put on ridiculous blue fucking lipstick. And this one over here, who looks like an anorexic piece of cotton candy, and like looks like every fucking heroin addicted chick I've ever seen standing on the corner of Piedmont Street. These two, like, this is how you dress. Are you fucking kidding me? There's nothing, they're not doing this to look like women. They're doing this for the shock value, which is fine. This is freedom. But that doesn't mean you should be reading to kids in the fucking library. Doesn't mean that. Like, just because it's shocking doesn't mean it should be celebrated in front of children. Sorry, I don't know. Maybe I'm the crusty old triggered little bitch, but I just think there's something wrong with that. They are drag queens. They're supposed to be drag. That's fine. If this is what drag queens is, this is not appropriate for children. That's what I'm saying. Like, not everything is appropriate for children. Like, ISIS is into beheading and shit, right? Well, that's just who they are. Should we expose kids to that? Because, well, it's just they're being themselves, right? They like to behead. So who are we to judge? Come on. Anyway, the point of this, right, is that it turns out that this is a former student of mine. I had no idea. No idea. Apparently the name is Josh Gaudet. And Josh is all mad right now because I dead named him. That's like his dead name. And this is another thing they said, by the way. They said that if you say, they want to be called different pronouns depending on if they're in character. When they're not in character, he wants to be called he. And when he is in character, he wants to be called she. Guess what? I ain't doing that. I'm not playing your stupid games. You can't compel speech in this country. That's not how any of this works. Anyway, this student is like, they get all mad and they share it. And there's my picture right there. And they're like, this asshole who was a teacher wrote a book. And I love how they always throw that. Who was a teacher? Like, they always try to hold that against you. Oh, gasp, not a teacher with opinions? Oh my God. Teachers aren't supposed to have opinions. They're supposed to be mindless drones that just fucking yell social justice platitude bullshit to the masses. Oh my God, that's not allowed. I mean, this is why I left teaching, because this is the mentality of it, right? This asshole who was a teacher wrote a book about how a blogger made up so-called lies about him, which they were lies. The blogger was sued, and the blog is no longer up because he was sued for lying. And he had a $40,000 judgment against him for lying. Okay, that forced him to quit in what he loved to do. That's true. But now he turns around and writes a blog that trashes other people who have nothing to do with him. Well, I didn't write the original blog. I agree with it though. Okay, he's such an asshole, and I urge you all to boycott his sponsors. Okay, and by the way, go call up Guerrero Jewelers, the people that put up that controversial billboard, and tell them, guess what? The drag queens aren't coming to Sturbridge anymore. I would love to hear how that goes. Call up our friends at Garage Doors Plus in Quincy and be like, you know what? You ain't installing my garage door, motherfucker. Let me know how that goes. I'd like to hear how that goes. And they always just throw in the bullshit, right? We will not allow transphobic. The fuck is... I thought they weren't transgender. It's transphobic, I guess. Okay? Homophobic. What the fuck's homophobic about it? There's nothing homophobic about that. Racist. And they just throw racist in there. This is literally a room full of white people, and we're being accused of racism. Okay, sure thing. All right. Anyway, Josh, it turns out, is Harley Quinn. Guys, my old history teacher wrote an article about the drag queen story time and called me a hooker. He didn't like me then and surely doesn't. Let me address this, right? This idea that teachers don't like students. And I think I talked about this in the book. There's no such thing as teachers liking or disliking students. Obviously, kids that are like well-behaved and do all their work, they're so much easier. Of course, right? Like I couldn't tell you, like the A students, the kids that got like an A+ or like 100 average on the year, it was so fucking easy. They just show up and do what they're told. It's fucking great. You don't have to call their parents. You don't have to do emails. You don't have to go to meetings. Nothing. And the best part is when you gave them a test and there was a lot of written shit, little secret here, I didn't even read them half the time because I know they already got it all right. After a few times, you're like, you know, you skim through it, you double check, you keep them honest, keep them on their toes, and you're like, yep, she got them all right again. She got every single aspect of this essay right again. Got everything I'm looking for. 20 out of 20 points. And so, like, yeah, obviously those kids are easier. But that doesn't mean we like them more. All right, I liked the shitty students just as much as I liked the good ones. The shitty ones were just more challenging, right? That's it. It was nothing personal. Like, I've had shitty students come on the blog, and they're like fans of the blog now. Like, the one who gave me information about Scott Brower, the old teacher that got fired for banging 2 kids, she was one of them. She got a low F in my class, a real low one. And she's like the biggest fan. Because she had a trucker voice in high school, and she has a trucker voice now, so she likes Turtle Boy. But she's cool. Right? And I had nothing personal against her, man. It was just like she just didn't want to pass my class. So I don't take it offensively if you don't pass my class. Because it's not my grade, dude. It's your grade. Like, you know, kids used to always think, are you mad at me? I'm not mad at you, but your parent might be if they love you. Right? Because it's like, you're failing the class. That's not good. And by the way, Josh fails my class. I didn't meet his parents at all. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know. If your kid is failing a class, right, and the parents don't come, we have 2 parent-teacher conference nights a year, right? And we have a thing where, it's literally, it was an all-day thing. We would have half a day of school. It was the longest day. It ended at 11:15. Then you eat lunch. Then we have parent-teacher conferences from 1 to 4. And then you can go and eat dinner or go check on your kids from 4 to 6. Then you got to come back from 6 to 8. We did that twice a year. So 5 hours you make yourselves available. And on top of that, you can email me, set up a meeting, whatever. I'm pretty available. If your kid, and if kids were failing at progress reports, we had to send an action plan home and have it signed. Of course, they never get it signed because they're shitty students and they don't do what they're told. Josh was one of those. And I never met his parents once, ever. And that kind of tells you all you need to know about how Josh was raised by absentee parents who didn't give a fuck about him. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And it's not a coincidence now that he's a freaking drag queen because he obviously didn't get enough attention growing up. I mean, that's the truth of it all. And now he's just lashing out for attention. And he's fucking finally got it. And I'll tell you one thing. In high school, that kid didn't say boo. He didn't say a fucking word. I didn't even hear that. I don't even know what his voice sounded like. I remember exactly where he sat. I had him in the front row on the left. I had like a horseshoe in the room kind of thing. And I would put the worst kids in the front row on the left or the front row on the right because I needed easy access to them. And I constantly needed to tap on their desk if they weren't, paying attention. I needed to get on them. The kids that could be trusted, they go in the back. That's how it works. Josh was a front kid. He never did anything. And so now he's going to whine, he couldn't read or write. I mean, it was pretty simple in my class. Read 6 pages, quiz tomorrow, boom, multiple choice, done. Maybe, some fill-ins with a word bank with the low-level classes, all this shit. Couldn't pass it, couldn't do it. Couldn't read, couldn't write. And that's what I found remarkable about this, right? He's reading at the friggin' library. Why? What? Are you fucking kidding me? This is literacy, right? If he was just a dude who barely graduated from high school, would he be invited to this? No. It's because he's dressing like a drag queen that he is like, we have to fucking be like, this is so fucking awesome. It's like, no, this is an illiterate fucking moron, right? Who is still apparently holding grudges about his high school teachers. He thinks they're mad at him. He's like 27 now, or however the fuck old he is. Give me a break. All right. History was always my worst class. I just didn't put in effort, and I admit that. Love hearing about history today. History is one of those things, guys, that grows on you. Like, I could tell you that with everyone. I have a lot of friends like that did not give a shit about history in high school, but they learned to appreciate it when they got older. Because you start paying attention to politics and the news and stuff like that, and you start to understand things from a historical perspective. And to be able, like, the evolution of conversations with your friends changes. You know what I mean? I didn't give a shit about history when I was in high school at all. Because, I mean, you know what I was thinking about in high school? Like, I'm going to go to the Palladium this weekend. Who's buying us booze? Okay, got to figure that out. Which chicks am I currently working on? And this is before social media, by the way. So it was much harder. Like, I got to go home and I got to call. I'm trying to hook up with this girl now. I got to call her landline. Hopefully her mom's not home and her mom doesn't answer. All right. And so, like, that's what I was constantly thinking about in high school. Who's getting the keg? I didn't give a fuck about history. I didn't really enjoy history in high school. I ended up mastering in it. That's what I got my master's in. But, like, I didn't really appreciate it in high school either. Most high school kids don't. And I get that. When I was teaching, I got that most kids really, they could care less. I couldn't possibly make it interesting for them. I tried, but I couldn't possibly do it. Only history I like is the history you taught, American history. I definitely like American more, okay? Definitely like American history more in that regard. You said, Melissa says, my history teacher in Quabbin was the worst. I'd rather watch paint dry. It can be boring, man. It can definitely be boring. Yeah, Laura says, haha, we just got booze when we were 18 very easily. I mean, that's true. But you know what? Growing up in America, it was almost the fun of trying to get booze that made it fun. It was the chase, right? Trying to get I bet you never had to do a Hey Mister, Laura. We had to do Hey Misters in America. Everybody in Worcester knows a Hey Mister. It means you go down to Randall's on Canterbury Street and you sit in your car and you find some bum walking by and you're like, hey, mister, you want to buy me a 30 rack of Ice House? Keep the change. And 99 times out of 100, they say yes because they're on fucking Canterbury Street and they got nothing to lose. So, yeah. That was that. I don't know where I was going with this rant. But, yeah, this story, it was very therapeutic to write it because, I'm like, you know what? Old Uncle Turtle Boy couldn't do that, right? Because I was in my shell. Now I could be like, you know what, Josh? Let's talk about you. Because you're going to make up shit. And you're going to, like, come on here and talk all this shit. We're going to, he taught me too. And by taught, I mean he did not care about my education. Shut the fuck up. I did not care for his biased teacher ways. I wasn't biased in the least bit ever. Okay? I passed with a B. Bitch, you failed. You failed. You had to do fucking summer school. Stop it. You didn't pass with a B. Stop it. All right. And by the way, you didn't even go to summer school. And so that's why you had to take the next year with Mr. Boyd, didn't you? Didn't you? He sucks so much, Tyler Roycoin says. I remember when he got on my case for wearing eyeshadow one time. Completely made up. That's all these freaking kids do now is they make shit up. They victimize themselves, right? I give a fuck if this kid wore eyeshadow. Tyler Roycoin Was one of those kids. He wore skinny jeans a lot. He was in a rock band. He had long hair, kind of. One of those kids. But I liked him in class because he was a pretty good student in a low-level class. He would like take an interest in history and stuff like that. And he amused me. He could have funny jokes sometimes. Stuff like that. He seemed to appreciate my humor. We got along very well. But now, this is what group mentality is like, right? Like, one person says, this guy sucks. Nobody is going to speak out against that. Nobody's brave enough to. They'd rather just join the echo chamber. Jill Tremblay, Mr. Carney, he was the worst. Jill, what are you talking about, hon? You loved my class. Loved it. I remember her telling me one time, like, I used to hate history of Mr. Tittle, but I really like your class. She was like the friendliest kid. She came up to me on the first day. She would see me outside of class and strike up conversations. A lot of kids didn't do that. When they saw you in the hallways, they wanted to pretend like they didn't know you. She was not. She was different. She was cool. But now, Mr. Carney's worst. Stop it, Jill. Nobody's buying your bullshit. Okay? Stop it. And so, yeah. Me sitting here distinctly remembering going back to class after the Machines show choir performance. Maura Gerard, okay? First of all, you missed my class a lot. And she pulled this thing where she would constantly try to go to show choir. And eventually I had to have an intervention with the show choir teacher who specifically told me, no, this girl's playing games. She's saying that you're giving her permission to go. And we had to have like an intervention with this chick because we were both being lied to. And she failed the class too. Chase Pentinelli. I don't even have him in class. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Marissa LaBeouf. I had her sister at Fanning. You understand how hard it is to become a student at the Fanning Learning Center? You have to come from a family of trash. And I'm not saying that figuratively, literally. LaBeouf is like the biggest trash organization in central Massachusetts. That's her family. They do trash. All right. Mr. Carney, hated it. She failed too, shockingly. All right. I don't even know who this chick is. I went to high school. No, you didn't. Turtle Boy's trash. It's like blah, blah, blah. He sexually did this, sexually that. Okay. But it was very therapeutic. It was very therapeutic to like have it all out there and be like, you know what, guys? It is me. I'm finally calling you out on your bullshit. Let's do this. We didn't do any American history, if I recall. Had enough of our own. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't talk about the American history either, Laura, because the American history with Britain didn't go so well. I recall 2 wars. I think the final record was 1-0-1. You burnt down the White House, but we just built a new one, baby. That's what we do. America. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go back. Sorry. Let's go back to the book, right? So chapter 14, do you guys have any questions about this or whatever? Basically, the big thing with this, right, is that like people try to blame Turtle Boy and anybody else for the actions of other people. And that is something I fundamentally reject. This idea that words are the causation of violence, right? Like you said this word and then somebody read those words and then they harmed someone else. Therefore, you should not be able to say those words. That's all it is, people. Whenever you hear people say that, it's like that is just them trying to censor you. This happens all the time. All the time. Mostly from the left, but it happens all the time. And it's like they always try to be like, well, white nationalists, read your works and they like you. And you shouldn't read it. Well, did they buy a t-shirt? Because if they did, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? It's like, as long as they're reading it, I don't really give a shit what they believe. I just want you to read it. I want it to be thought-provoking. That's it. You won't see, all we can do is control the content of our speech. You will never see us inciting violence on our blog, ever. It's never happened. Right? This idea that, like, it all came from this Supreme Court decision, actually, back in World War I, that said you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. And a lot of people quote that, right? And they're always just like, well, you can, censor speech because Oliver Wendell Holmes said that you can't do this. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. But guess what? That Supreme Court decision, that was used to justify the banning of anti-war pamphlets during World War I, right? because they're like, if you hand out anti-war pamphlets, that could hurt the war cause, and that would cause panic, and we can't have that. That law has since been overturned by other courts, and that's a good thing. So you actually can yell fire in a crowded theater and cause a panic, and you will not be arrested for it, because that is how free speech works. Okay. So anyway, we talked about John Lennon's assassination was blamed on J.D. Salinger. People are, and even with like school shootings, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like nobody ever blames the shooter. Nobody even remembers that guy's name. It was the NRA's fault, right? I mean, everybody is always looking for someone else to blame except for the people that actually cause the harm, and these like Diane Williamses of the world, they're so dishonest because like when we did that thing on her, right? When she posted that, what'd she post? That tow truck driver's, butt cheek, his plumber's crack. All we did was like, this is fucking pretty low of her to do, to shame some poor truck driver, poor guy. And, that's not good. Well, we can't, what she did then, and a lot of people had like legitimate criticisms of her, right? They like were really well articulated and nuanced, and they said that to her, and she ignored all of those. What they do is they cherry pick the worst ones, and they're like, see, this person said so, called me a dyke bitch. Thanks, Turtle Boy, you caused this. Nah, didn't cause that. That person did it themselves. They were going to call you a dyke bitch no matter what. So, yeah, it's just like this idea, like, should the news stop reporting about child molesters because somebody might, like, harm a child molester? Stop it. Just stop it. So they blame us for, like, causing junkies to overdose. I don't want to give away the spoilers, but you read about that in the book. The first time we were ever blamed for, like, causing a junkie to, die, even though she chose to put the needle in her arms. We didn't do that. Stop it. And what else requires? So that kind of brings us to the comment section was in there, right? And people always, do you guys comment, people right now, do you guys comment on the blog? I'd actually like to know that. Do you guys comment on the blog? The blog comments underneath. Because let me read some of these. Actually, good thing we have this open. This is actually a good example of that. Got to go scroll all the way to the bottom. So there's going to be a lot of negative comments. Let's see what people are saying on here. Yes, I comment on the blog. Yes, absolutely. Oh, so you guys do actually comment on there. No, not never once. I comment on from a non-brand alias. Okay. Yes, under an alias. Yeah. So it's very different than Facebook. And I'm sure you guys understand the difference, right? Is that like Facebook, the comments are a lot more appropriate, because a lot of people use their real name on Facebook, right? Whereas everybody, it's a fucking cesspool in the comments in ours. I don't even read it, right? Because it's just like, I can't take it seriously because it's just people being outrageous for the purpose of being outrageous. And like, for instance, this one, that's a fine comment, but it's, that's a funny one. I'm sure I can find a fucking weird one in here. Not a weird one, but like a really offensive one. Right. It's getting close to Christmas. I'm thinking about Jesus and trying not to be a judgmental and not hate anyone. I'm trying to be good, but these queer folks are too much. Let them be freaks, but don't pay them to be freaks. They are baiting people to hate them, and it's working. Fucking fags ruin everything. So, like, obviously that's not something that I endorse. And this person's name is Losers Picking Fights to Be Victims. And I have a hard time believing that whoever's behind this would, put their real name to that comment. And so you see a lot of that. There's one guy on here that just comes on, I think it's WWY or something like that, and he just blames everything on the Jews. It's so boring when he does that. Like, I don't even read it. It's not interesting, right? He's not even an interesting troll. He's just a loser, man. So, people just go on here and they just basically talk shit. So that was a really therapeutic blog. And Turtle Boy blogs are ruthless, though. I mean, I think there's, I I don't think we're that ruthless, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we can be ruthless at times. I think that the blog I did, ripping these people apart, that was ruthless, but it was in good taste, right? Like, I didn't have to, like, stoop to anything. I didn't have to be like, gut a muppet, whore, slut, fag. Like, I don't have to do any of that. I can slay you with my words and with my thoughts, and I can use logic and reason to rip apart your way of thinking, because my way of thinking is more enlightened than yours. That's the way I view it, right? Like, I'll hear you out. But if your way of thinking is just fucking like, you have to make shit up to do it, well, you're easy. We're not even on the same level. So back to the blog comments. Yeah, TB blog comments. Thank you very much. Are ruthless. The purposely offensive comments are lame and boring. I completely agree, Fat Rob. I completely agree. There's just no purpose to it, right? It's just like, oh wow, you're so edgy, dude. You're saying shit about the Jews, and like it's like 4chan is that way, and like people act like my problem is when the boycotters then, and they literally did this. The turtle boycotters would go on and they would screenshot comments and send it to advertisers and be like, "Do you endorse this?" It's like, are you fucking kidding me? We're responsible for comments now? Like, we get blamed for that. They're like, why aren't you doing something about comments? And Facebook is the same way, right? They're always just like, people are always pressuring them. What are you doing to get rid of hate speech? You know what Facebook and Twitter's answer should be? Nothing. Fucking nothing. That's what we're doing. Actually, here's what we're doing. We gave you a block button. Feel free to use it on anyone you want. You don't run out of blocks. You can block everyone. Anyone you don't like. Problem solved. And so, like, with the comments, though, we can't block people. So we've had 4 ideas that I kind of outlined in the book, 4 possibilities. And I would like to hear from you guys what you would suggest in our, ideas here. Let me see here. But the thing about Brett's uncalled for comments, right? The Brett uncalled for comments are, like, witty. And they make me laugh because they're so original. Like, I fucking laugh. Like, some people don't think Brett is funny at all. And they're like, that guy, like, he's trying too hard, some people say. And, Brett is not everyone's cup of tea. But me and people like me, like, I'm college educated. A lot of my friends from, went to UMass with me. When we get together, we talk about Brett's comments. And I read some of them, like, and we just fucking laugh. It's because it's so fucking funny. I don't know where he comes up with this shit. So anyway, the 4 options we have. Option 1 is to ban comments. Option 2 is to require some sort of registration where you give us an email. And the downside of that is that A, you can just make a fake email, so what does it really matter? And B, a lot of people didn't do it. A lot of people, like, commenting, we did this for a while, and commenting went down because people just weren't registering. They were less likely to comment. And I don't want people to be less likely to comment. I want as much free speech as possible on this page. I don't want any obstacles to it, right? And another one is to police the comments, which is almost impossible to do because we get hundreds of comments a day, and I'm not going to, like, go through there. Then I become Zuckerberg if I do that, right? You know what I mean? Then I become Facebook, where I'm going through there and deciding what stays up and what comes down. And it's not worth my time. That doesn't generate any revenue for the business. My job is to make this a business and make money, right? And, like, build the blog. That doesn't do anything, policing comments, right? And if you notice in there, we don't comment on the blog. I've instructed or try to tell people, don't comment on there. Our comments are the blogs themselves. The readers get to have their say in the comments, and we should not interrupt them, right? They should be allowed to say what they want to say. And yeah. Keep the comment section untamed like the Wild West. I mean, that's ultimately what we're going to do. Because the require registration wouldn't be a bad one. I kind of like how Barstool Sports has it. And that's one of my things I like about Barstool is the comment sections are so good. I love a website with a good comment section. You don't see that a lot anymore. NBC News, any website, any media outlet, doesn't have a good comment section. So you have to go to their Facebook page, and then you become dependent on the Facebook tit, right? I don't want to be that way. I want I want to be the place to go. You know what I mean? When I click on a Barstool article, I don't even click on the ones, I'm not interested in many of their blogs, but I'm interested in the real bad ones. You know why? Because I just want to go and read the comments, and I want to hear people ripping them, because the commenters are funnier than the people in themselves. So that's one goal I want to have. I want the comment section to be better. I want it to like be more humorous. So yeah, if it isn't already there, just put one of those comments don't reflect the views of the author. I mean, we could do that, but I think that's self-explanatory. The raw comments is just another amazing aspect of Turtle Boy Live and blah. Yeah. So you only read Liz Gonzalez blog. Yeah, basically. I love reading hers because I just love, and the K Marco ones, people just shit on him too because he's really bad. They had this chick, intern Dana, a couple years back. I used to go on hers, or also go on that the show they have with the two 21-year-old chicks, and I'll just read the comments on there. It's fucking great. And I love it because people are always like, this is so bad. But they're just going to come back the next day to say the same thing. But it kind of shows you, like, people are looking for something new. And that something could be Turtle Boy. You know, we can kind of fill that void. So, anyway, yeah, we got blamed for that a lot. The worst of all, the worst troll we've ever had might be Red Danny Margolis. We all remember Red Danny, who looks like every child molester ever. He actually blamed us. He wrote a series of blogs last year on his stupid website, blaming us for, like, people killing themselves. That's the thing we get blamed for the most, right? Is that we will cause someone to kill themselves. Wrong. That's so offensive to people, by the way, who have actually endured suicide in their life or struggled with suicide. This idea that you're going to minimize this and trivialize this so much that you are going to blame such a horrific thing on a fucking blog. How dare you, bro? Who the fuck are you? You know, that's the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my life. To say that a blog can cause someone to kill themselves. Stop it. Stop it. And I'm just of the belief that nobody throws, like this, have you guys seen the 13 Reasons Why on Netflix? Because I did. And people raved about it. And it was such a big hit, right? Because everybody's like, oh, this fucking poor girl, she's a victim, and all these people were terrible to her, and she writes the 13 reasons why she killed herself. Fuck her. Fuck that self-indulgent twat. I'm glad she's dead. I mean that, even though, because she's not real, so it's okay to say that. But fuck her. And fuck this glorification of her, right? This glorification of suicide. Like, let's look at it afterwards and blame everyone who's alive. No. Stop it. This girl is mentally ill. The only types of people who kill themselves are people who are suffering from major mental illness that we all ignored or could not help them with. Stop it. Stop blaming. Oh, someone tweeted something mean at me. Shut up. Turtle Boy was number 10. Yeah. Let's see. 13 Reasons Why Turtle Boy. I was definitely a show that drew you in. I liked the story, but didn't walk away feeling it taught me anything. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was incredibly overrated. But of course, Dan Margolis uses it to kind of say that, you know, Turtle Boy is going to kill himself. I'd like to point out, Red Danny Margolis is an actual card-carrying member of the American Communist Party. He was president of the New York Communist Party. And his goal was to spread socialist revolution in America because he realized violent revolution wouldn't work, so he had to do it at the polls. And then he moves to Worcester from New York. He just shows up one day, and he becomes a troll on our site, and he starts this kind of like movement against Turtle Boy, and he thinks he won. He's like, Turtle Boy. I love when people are like, Turtle Boy, that's still a thing? I forgot about that. Yeah, bitch, you know why you forgot about that? Because you're Zuckerberg's bitch. That's why you forgot about it. Because you're his slave. You go where Zuckerberg tells you to go. People who think independently come to Turtle Boy, right? Our traffic in the last year, the best part about the Facebook ban is that daily traffic to our website has doubled. The amount of people coming directly to our website has doubled. We get about 30,000 people a day now that come directly to our website. That is the Facebook effect right there. Yeah. We all need to share suicide awareness on our timelines or we don't care. Yes. Saying one amen equals $10. Yeah. The comments are very delayed here. Oh, I'm sorry. Where you are or in general? I'm not sure. So anyway, that's the kind of shit we get blamed for. I completely reject that, etc. And it's just like a dangerous precedent to set. If we're gonna say that, like, well, your words could cause violence, it's just going to be used, right, as a basis to silence more people. That's all it's going to be. You don't want to give anyone that power, man. Free speech is the most important thing we have in a democracy. Without it, we can't share controversial ideas, right? We can't explore new ideas. And that's why it's so dangerous. You know what? I want to hear. Like, I want to hear from Nazis. Like, I actually want to read how the fuck did you become a Nazi? I really want to get in your brain and understand that. Because if I can understand that, then perhaps I can begin to enlighten you almost. You know what I mean? To tell you, oh, no, you got this wrong, dude. A lot of what you're saying right now is based on historical inaccuracies. And here's why. Let's talk about it, right? That's why I don't want to censor these people. I don't want to censor racists. I don't want to censor social justice warriors, right? I want them to talk. I want to rip them to shreds. So it's so bad. Yeah. Might be all the pages he has open. I only have like 6 open right now. It's not that bad. So anyway, why don't we do a little questions answering? If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask me, particularly about this chapter about, things Turtle Boy gets blamed for, or anything, whatever, I'm game. Let me know. I know, I got to restart it. Shoot if you got a question. Let's hear it. If not, we'll call it a night. All right. What students surprised you the most? What do you mean by surprised? While you're answering that, I guess I could talk about it. Like, as they turned out to be, or like, are you asking? So I guess the students that surprised me the most were the ones that, really changed the most during the year, right? That weren't good students that developed into good students. Those are the ones that kind of surprised me the most. But I'll tell you one thing. I was surprised by Jill Tremblay today. I don't know what's up with her, what her problem is, but we were cool in high school together, all right? I don't know what her problem is. That one kind of hurt. I'm not going to lie, that kind of stung. But I'm like, Jill Tremblay? The fuck? When I saw a lot of those kids tweeting about me and I put some of those tweets in the book, it's like, what? This kid is shitting on me too? The fuck did I ever do to that kid? It was nice to him. I agree, Laura. Being in an echo chamber is not healthy. The way they turned out. It honestly doesn't even surprise me. I mean, I guess Josh, you find one out, you find out one of them a drag queen, you're like, oops. Yeah. Agree with you there. I watch and read stuff from people I don't agree with. Yeah, exactly. It's healthy, man. It really is healthy. Because I want to hear fucked up shit. Like, unless it's just ridiculous and absurd and silly, like Alex Jones's stuff with like the Sandy Hook false flag, like whatever. I'm not going to try to stop you from saying those things, but I'm not really going to listen to you because that's just fucking stupid, right? And my time is limited, so I'm really not interested in hearing how Sandy Hook didn't happen. Like, stop it. Let's see. Is Diggy Richard coming after you? I don't even know. I haven't heard from them yet. I'm still alive. Yeah. I like how you put your students in their place. They drags. Yeah. Let's see. Is Wanda hot in real life? God, no. Wanda is more ratchet than she appears with the broken caps lock button. Let's see. More questions. Chuck says hi. Thanks, Maury. Any kid who didn't appreciate you in high school was hopeless from birth. Oh, thanks, Andrew. Really appreciate that, man. Andrew was a good shit. Did you know Ben Kaplan? He used to be my boss, and a couple years ago, he told me he went to high school tour. Yeah, I mean, I knew Ben Kaplan since I was a little kid. He was on my early baseball teams because he was a Tatnick Square kid. I grew up in Tatnick. And but Ben Kaplan, I believe, I want to say he went to like Worcester Academy. I want to say that, but don't hold me to it. His brother was a very good basketball player. The delayed comments was more an FYI. Oh, it's about a mid delay. Oops, sorry. Probably thinking I knew. Yeah, diggity down, turtle down. I thought she'd be hot. Oh well, who thought who would be hot? No, sorry. Yeah, Wanda. Give me a break. Wanda. I would like to smoke weed with Wanda. To be perfectly honest with you, that would. Ooh, now you guys got me thinking. What if because it's been years since I blogged about Wanda. What if I'm just like, Wanda, I want to bury the hatchet with you on camera and smoke a blunt to the dome, you and I, and just talk about shit. Just talk about shit. Like you share your grievances about me, and I share my grievances about you. And we pass the blunt, and maybe we find out what's up with them Asian chicks in the basement. Maybe, I don't know if we'll talk about that. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. But that would be a fucking awesome episode, huh? If I was just like, blunt time with Wanda. Ooh, should we do it? Now I kind of really want to do it. I would totally fucking do that. Totally. Oh, now I really want to do it. Let's see. What's going on with Candy Dennis? She sold her business, skipped town, and there's like rumors about where she is now. That she might be starting a new business, moving to Georgia. There's still rumors going on, but man, Candy Dennis was a real success story for Turtle Boy. We exposed her, and she fucking closed up shop and got the fuck out of town like the next day. She was the anti-Greg Bates. Greg Bates is still doing his thing. Not Candy Dennis. She got the fuck out. I'm pretty sure Uncle Turtle Boy is like Mr. Hand in Fast Times. Yeah, right. I'm like the anti-Mr. Hand. I was the cool, not cool, but I mean, I guess I was kind of strict like Mr. Hand, but Mr. Hand was boring. Boring. People say I do look like, by the way, Sean Penn a lot. They used to call me Spicoli. Let's see. That's why I know who Tucker is. Yeah. Can you... I get what you're saying. Let's see. What happened to it? Can you do Cap's voice on Worcester drug dealer on a weekend show, please? Absolutely. Doggy Richard and Rick Grimes, Hillcocks are homos trying to get in D's pants. Oh, is that what they are? Yeah. DS, I don't know what her deal is from the Brockton Hub. I think she used to be a fan, but here's the thing. She got into, you guys remember Feisty? She was like my blogger that did not give a fuck. That's what we called her, Feisty. She like started wars with people though. And one of them was DS, who I was under the impression was some sort of Turtle Boy ally. I think she liked Turtle Boy and shit like that. But now she kind of wants to be cool and always be like, you know, well, Turtle Boy takes it too far sometimes. It's like, shut up, DS. You love this shit. I love the people on the Brockton Hub, by the way, who are like, oh, Turtle Boy's mean and he shames people. Bitch, you're on the Brockton Hub. You come here to watch people get shamed every day. It's a fucking cesspool of humanity. No one on the Brockton Hub is better than anyone else on the Brockton Hub. No one. We're all here for the same purpose. To watch the world burn. And that's why we come to Brockton. Because shit burns there. Wanda, you get stoned and find the people in her base. God, that would be fun. God, that would be fun. Let's see. I know, I'm going to do it. Getting 2 Turtle Boys hoodies, Uncle, gotta support. Yeah, absolutely. We love it when you guys support the cause. I actually delivered some shit to Southbridge the other day. I drove there. Like, I will drive to your house if you live close enough and I got nothing to do. And my kid needs a nap. I will drive to your house. I've driven to a bunch of houses and delivered Turtle Boy shit. It also saves me money on the shipping and handling. All right. Let's see. Oh, the podcast. Come on. Hold on. Keep this going. I guess that's going down. Okay, all right, it's back. All right. Anyway, anything else we're asking here? The Cat Cafe seems to still be going on. Yeah, that's true. That's true. She survived. She's another one that survived. It didn't go so well for her at first, but she's still around. Are you going to the Bills game Sunday? That's a good question. No, I'm not. I hate going to Gillette. Gillette sucks. I'd rather go to an away game. I went to Jacksonville this year. That was enough for me. Had a good time at Jacksonville, even though we got our ass kicked. Let's see. I want you to get naked with Joe Rogan. Someday it will happen. Do I actually have to be naked for that? Or is that just what they call it? I would love to be on Joe Rogan. Let's see. We need more Uncle Freestyles. Yeah, I got to bring that back, man. I always keep saying that, but I never do. Let's see. DS definitely needs to comment a lot on, used to comment a lot on, yeah, I swear to God, she was a regular, right? I could have sworn she was. Any new ideas for Ratchet Madness this year? I fucking love Ratchet Madness, and I can't wait for it to come back. Oh, good Lord, it's going to be fun. I've already started thinking about my one seeds. We're going to be the top ones in Ratchet Madness this year. We also have our top 100 blogs of the year thing coming out on New Year's Eve. Pay attention to that. The hoodies are dope. I'm glad you liked them. Do I drive to the island? Which island are you talking about? Not familiar. You can see that hub place without joining. My God, never seen a page like it. Exactly. It's so fun. You should have driven mine, and we could have visited the Fupaslot in a natural environment in Burlington. Yeah, I mean, I live in Holden, man. So if it's like a local thing, I'll do it. If it's Central Mass, I have like a radius I'll go to. If I got nothing to do. If I got shit to do, I'll mail it to you. Have you been back to Buffalo? No, but it's coming soon. I'll definitely be good. I will return to Buffalo, and I will live stream the whole thing. I will do it. Let's see. I have seen her name a lot. Yeah, I'll DM my address. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you order the shit, your address comes up, so it's not necessary. Let's see. All right, so looks like unless you guys have any more questions, we'll call it a night. Because it's been a good hour here. Good show. Loving the YouTube. I think it's great. And we will see you all. Are you going to get mugs? Probably not, man. Not unless we have like a physical store. You know why? Because they're expensive to ship, which then drives up the price. Like we sold them. A mug should cost, I feel like, a mug should be like $9. We had to sell the mugs for $17 because shipping was so expensive, right? They're an awkward shape, and you have to like fucking put like 10 pounds of freaking newspaper in there so they don't break. But I loved them. The mugs were fucking awesome. So, all right, people. We will see you all tomorrow. I think we got another good chapter tomorrow. Oh, I think tomorrow's chapter is one of my favorites. Threats and public confrontation. So stay tuned for that. All right? Peace, Turtle Riders.